The base running issues are rearing their ugly head. I like the aggressiveness, but there has to be smart aggressiveness. And
you are Locked On Rays, your daily Tampa Bay Rays podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome into Locked On Rays, your daily podcast covering everything Tampa Bay Rays, from game analysis to player interviews. We've got you covered with all the latest news and insights. My name is Kevin Weiss.
I'm Ulysses Zambrano,
bringing you expert analysis and passionate discussions about our beloved Rays.
Whether you're a diehard fan who vividly remembers Longo's Game 162 just like us,
or you remember the early Devil Ray days of Wade Boggs and Carl Crawford,
we are here to break down every play, every trade, and every milestone. In fact, this is our 7th season covering the Rays daily.
And the 2025 season is underway, so go ahead, grab your favorite Rays gear, settle in, and subscribe to our Locked On Rays YouTube channel and other podcast platforms. You can also find us on X and Instagram at Locked On Rays. We also want to remind you that we thank you for making Locked On Rays your first listen every day, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I will say that for Thursday and Friday, we have a fun slate of guests, somebody that has been on the show very often and just got back into town, so it will be great to chat with him. And then another individual who we've done a couple of crossovers before, and it's always a fun time. So I'm just trying to do a little teaseroo there for Thursday and Friday show. Unfortunately, it is late night with the Rays as they're playing the Arizona Diamondbacks, and we are recording before the first game of the series against the Diamondbacks kicks off. So we figured this would be a good opportunity to do a Rays temperature check. We're not even one full month through the season, but I think with a day off, a couple homestands, some road games, we have a decent barometer of where this team is at right now. For context purposes, the Rays are 9-13, and they are 13.5% through the season. As we also know, the Rays have done a solid job against not so good teams, i.e. the Rockies, the Pirates, and Braves. All those teams have losing records. Whereas against winning teams, i.e. the Rangers, Angels, Red Sox, and Yankees, they are 3-10. So that is one of the overarching themes, besides being under 500, is the type of competition that the Rays are winning against and losing against. And as we've seen thus far, to further put a bow on it, Steinbrenner Field hasn't been as friendly of a confines as we hoped or expected, as the team is 9-10 at that field in Tampa. So they've, if you can believe it, they've already played 19 games there. So they're about a quarter of the way through their home schedule, and I would imagine that something has to give between now and the end of the season. But Ulysses, just kicking off here, where the Rays stand right now, level of concern overall, how you're feeling about the team overall. I don't know if you want to do a 1 to 10 of 10, hey, the world is on fire. 1, it's still extremely early, not concerned at all. Where's your mark presently?
0 concern on the pitching. Okay. I know the bullpen has not been what we've expected coming into the season, but again, I'm never going to have any concerns about the bullpen. They have way too much of a reputation and solid success for decades now, where I think you can give them a little bit of a leash, especially when there's only been 22 games played. So right. I'm not concerned about the pitching staff at all whatsoever. The base running has been a wrinkle that I don't think has been mentioned that much with people. I it says that a major most 14 outs on the bases, plus being caught stealing 5 times and picked off twice.
Yeah.
This is, and again, I like that they're running more because it's a much more enjoyable type of game when you see guys' athleticism on the field. So I'll say that.
And sometimes you have to make your own breaks if the offense isn't cutting it. Hey,
And
I got to find my way to third, and then maybe somebody can knock a grounder the other way with fewer than 2 outs, or get a sacrifice fly, or by God's green earth, a pass ball or a wild pitch, and I can get home on that marker. But yes, the base running issues are rearing their ugly head. I like the aggressiveness, but there has to be smart aggressiveness, and I think we can put some of the blame on this is a young roster. Maybe Chandler Simpson helps up it a little bit more, even though he's a very young player, but I think a very skilled base runner. And also the other team gets paid. Max Fried is a Gold Glove pitcher, so he can turn around and throw guys out. There's capable catchers in this league that can make really solid plays, but the fact that you're basically worst in the league in that benchmark presently is not a positive sign.
2 of that catch me a lot. I mean, well, maybe 3. The Aranda getting caught at a third, trying to stretch that triple. Morel getting picked off at second,
and base with the glove.
Yeah, I mean, and then Junior Caminero getting it was a blatant sent. I don't know why they sent Junior Caminero during the opening weekend. Those 3 strike me as the biggest offenses against effective base running. But like you're saying, that's also the coaching staff and the players telling you, we got to do this or else we're not going to really be able to put runs on the board. Like, we have to be aggressive because the offense is not there. So that already tells the fan base, that already tells the other team, like, hey, this is what we got to do. But like you're saying, you have to be a little bit more effective. You have to pick your spots a little bit better than you have so far.
Right. And that's a good point you made about opening weekend and the situation that happened with Caminero. I believe we were at that game where that instance occurred. So it's not necessarily wholly on the players 100% of the time.
No.
It could be a coach
Defense
making a bad move or a bad call, and the players ultimately, going to get blamed for it, or it's going to go on the player's box score and not the coach's box score, so to speak. So pitching, you're good. Base running, you're good. Offense, we got a lot to talk about that. Defense, a little bit to talk about that. We also have some listener comments on their biggest concerns so far in the early going. But first, Ulysses, we need to tell the audience something very important.
Get the supplies you need from the site made for the skilled trades, Supply House. Whether you're in plumbing, HVAC, or electrical work, Supply House is the reliable way to order products online. They've got an easy-to-use website packed with helpful resources and latest products information to help you get the job done right. Plus, they've got an inventory of over 200,000 parts from 400 plus top brands, so you'll get exactly what you need and delivered fast from coast to coast. You can join their free Trade Master program, which offers exclusive perks like a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order by going to supplyhouse.com/TM, and you can start ordering everything, plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies with just a few clicks. Plus, use promo code SH5 for 5% off your first order. Again, you can do all of that at supplyhouse.com.
All right, Ulysses, you want to start with the defense or the offense for the Rays right now?
With the defense, I don't have anything to really begrudge anybody. I think Morel out there in left field has made some plays that I didn't think he could make.
Yeah.
He's
made some 5-star catches or 4-star catches, and then there's been some other ones like, what the heck is going on?
Some clunky ones. It's been very Tommy Famish, but worse when he can't make it. But he has, like you're saying, he has made some nice plays at times.
Yeah.
Caminero, kind of the same in a better sense. Like he'll make some really good plays, but sometimes Junior doesn't really look as smooth as we would think. I mean, the arm strength is remarkable for him. But sometimes he doesn't look like, again, he's a young guy, 21, 22 years old. So you're expecting him to get better. But overall, I think the defense, there's really not too much to point out.
Well, I think the up the middle has helped things. Presently, they rank 5th in the majors with 11 defensive runs saved overall. We have seen, some gaps from Junior Caminero, but again, 21 years old. I think reps, experience, and seeing how the ball comes off the bat at the major league level and playing in some of these different ballparks, you'll get a better feel and read, and working with some of these professional infield coaches should further his development going forward. And if it doesn't, okay, I'll still take that bat. And if you have to move him to first base or DH 5 years down the line or 3 years down the line, the bat's going to play, I think, no matter where you set him at. But ideally, if he could play the hot corner, that would be nice, because Yandy Diaz ain't going back to the hot corner. And you'd have to find somebody else in the pipeline that can play that position long term. And I do think, we've seen some weird stuff in the outfield, both on the road and at home. But I still think, again, Tropicana Field, Steinbrenner Field, you're dealing with different animals there, because with the conditions of Steinbrenner, you have air and wind and humidity, and it's kind of a mystery as to how the ball is going to fly in the air on any given basis. And I think that's or just the glare of the sunlight. There's a lot of different factors at play there, but I think that the pitching and the defense are good. Minor worries in the grand scheme of things, especially when you consider where we're at offensively. And on a positive note, a silver lining note, the Rays are middle of the pack in the majors, averaging 4.27 runs per game. That's up from 3.73 last year. However, a big chunk of those runs, as you've mentioned previously, have come in 2 games, like a big chunk of those runs. So it's a little bit of a misnomer, if you will.
Exactly. And that's why I think people, let's dive deep here. I'm glad you said that. 26 of their 94 runs, Kev, came in 2 games. 26 out of 94. If that seems like a big chunk, people, let's get that calculator out. That's 28%. So 28% of their runs in 2 games. When you look at the totality of runs, when you look at the batting average with runners in scoring position, when you look at the average runs per game, don't get too in love. If you dive deep, and you really don't have to dive that deep, it's those 2 games where they went off. That is really what is that? Buoyed? Yeah, buoyed.
Yes.
Yeah. These 2 games are buoying the whole offensive numbers, the whole offensive landscape. If these 2, let's play the other side. Where would this offense be? What would the numbers look like if those 2 games had just been 2 to 3 runs?
Yeah,
it would look.
If you plugged in 3 or 4 runs near their average for those 2 games, you're probably looking at what you had last year or even worse up to this point. And there's myriad reasons for that. We should note that the Rays already in this early season have been shut out 3 times, including in their last 5 games that's happened. And they've been held to 3 runs or fewer in 11 of 22 games. So half their games, they're held to 3 runs or fewer, while they have done a better job this year compared to last year with runners in scoring position and fewer strikeouts on average than last year. Again, might have to just look back at those 2 key games where they scored so many runs in such a short period of time. But they are struggling massively against lefties, hitting just 188 with a 568 OPS again. And I think, that's part of the conversation that makes it a little bit easier for, I know Taylor Walls is a switch hitter, but hey, Jose Caballero's a righty. He's doing good offensively right now. We can't mess with this. We can't deal with Taylor Walls giving us a 167 average, no extra base hits, and a 437 OPS to this point, especially when your big dogs like Brandon Lau and Yandy Diaz and the $8 million man, Danny Jansen, and the major trade acquisition, Chris Morel, are not carrying their weight like they're supposed to. You can't just have Jonathan Aranda have an OPS of 1,200 and expect that to carry you through the first 22 games or through the entire course of the season. You need reinforcements and those everyday veteran types stepping up and carrying the weight more than what they presently are.
And somebody on the comment section, I forget who it was, but they were like, why are you guys not mentioning Morel? I think we have mentioned a lot about Morel, but if you don't think we've mentioned Morel enough, here we go. Yes, he is underperforming. You traded an all-star 30-homer threat for this guy, and he has essentially been a non-factor. In fact, if you want to be kind of more accurate than non-factor, he's been a negative, especially last year. So yeah, he has to step it up. And I think Brandon Lau, his only extra base hits, home runs, great. But where else are we going to get, from him? He needs to be he needs to be the biggest guy, if not junior. Right. And Yandy, this is consecutive years of a slow start. Mm-hmm. What does that mean? If you're a Rays fan, does that mean the beginning of the end? Does that mean they picked up that option to ship him off? Or are you just relegated to just having a guy that ultimately will have the numbers, but will have
that first month and a half,
non-existent,
could be a crapshooter. You're going to have other guys step in his stead. Focusing on Chris Morel for a moment, he is hitting 246 with a homer and a team high 28 strikeouts and just a 668 OPS. Now, he cannot be sent down because he is out of options, which makes me think if Meisner, if Mangum, if Simpson, you're going to have guys like Josh Lowe and Johnny DeLuca and Ha-Sung Kim. There's going to be a lot of bodies, theoretically.
Palacios.
Yes. I wonder how much longer the leash is for Chris Morel before they say, goodbye, DFA, we can't deal with this anymore.
I think it's going to be quite soon. And I think if any of those guys like Meisner and Mangum and Simpson are doing their job and exceeding expectations like they have so far, especially Mangum and Meisner due to the amount of ABs compared to Chandler, I think that's not the way you want to manage a team is, well, seniority, so we got to put you down, even though the guy here is struggling more, and we're going to keep him. No. You trade him, and you get your bags of baseballs or whatever Christopher Morel is out. His market value right now is, and you take the L for that trade because I know we're going to have someone that opines a bit differently than us, but
sometimes you just have to take the L in the trade, and you can't. It's a sunk cost.
You can't tell me you can't that a baseball team cannot make space for a guy that plays 3 different positions and is an all-star and has 30 homer power. You can't make room for that guy. The Rays should definitely have room for a guy like that, and they chose to trade him. Fine, cool, but take the L. Yeah. Take the L here because it's apparent that it's not working out so far.
Right. And side note, the spring training hero and just reemphasizes the idea that spring training stats don't matter. And part of it probably has to do with limited playing time. But again, you have to step up with the opportunities that you're given. Curtis Mead has done pretty much absolutely nothing offensively this season for the Rays. I mean, the numbers are actually kind of mirroring or worse than Taylor Walls. So he could be a guy that just gets left in the dust by all these younger guys, and you have to move him along. I honestly don't know if he has options still or figure out where
one more.
Okay, one more. Yeah, I think then it might be a no-brainer at that point that you got to send him down and figure out what to do with them beyond that. All right. We have some listener comments that we'll get to briefly, but first, Ulysses, we have to tell the audience something important. All right. It's that time. Are you looking for a snack that's both delicious and nutritious? Go ahead, crack into a good source of protein with Wonderful Pistachios. Wonderful Pistachios. It is one of the highest protein nuts. Each 1 ounce serving has 6 grams of protein, giving you over 10% of your daily value. Plus, they're packed with fiber and better for you unsaturated fats to help keep you feeling fuller longer. What are you waiting for? Go ahead, get snacking and get cracking with the snack that packs a protein punch. What's really cool about this too is no shells. So it makes that grab and go so much easier. Whether you're running between meetings or dropping off the kids, Wonderful Pistachios, it is the snack that works as hard as you do. So go ahead, visit wonderfulpistachios.com to learn more. So good. I'll repeat it again. wonderfulpistachios.com to learn more. All right. Cut off my Wonderful Pistachios read with the little shake there. I'll just emphasize the shake once again.
Thank you.
There we go. So
we need it. The people need it. Yeah.
Poor transition on my part. Getting to some listener comments here. We put a poll out earlier today. What concerns you the most about the 2025 Rays season so far? 85% say offense, 2% say defense, 7% say pitching, and 6% say scheduled challenges, which you could interweave the difficulty of playing at Steinbrenner Field within that as well. So overwhelmingly, the offense is the issue, which is why we spent pretty much 15 minutes on that in the last segment. Getting to some comments here. 247 Ray says, next question. He or she or they just wants to focus on the next game. Can't worry about the past here. Dustin Payne says we can't score. Samuel Bayless, our buddy from Australia, says, have the new digs made them soft? That clubhouse with the pools and the TVs and all the mod cons, which I imagine means modern conveniences, I guess is a terminology.
Nice.
Honest Rob says manager. Okay, so he's putting some of the blame on Kevin Cash or Kevin Crash. I don't know if we've had too many Kevin Crash moments.
Not individually.
So offense not doing their job, which,
I think it's more of a lineup construction and lineup, inclusion of one Taylor Walls.
Correct. And that seems to be getting remedied of late here. Jake Stokes says it's 100% the offense. This is a figure it out type year offensively with a World Series level pitching staff, and it's very frustrating to watch. Nosy says offense, but I think the offense seriously improves at some point. I just hope it isn't too late by then. I kind of agree with you, Nosy. I think Kim will provide a boost along with some others. Chris says Morel, and Morel. Those are his options there. He might not be too far off base with that. And then Michael Edwards says base running at the moment. So there we go. Hopefully the Rays can get a couple dubs, and prove or showcase that they can win against winning teams, particularly on the road. So we'll stay tuned for that. In the meantime, we hope that you all have a wonderful day. We thank you for making the Locked On Rays podcast your first listen. Today, for your second listen, check out the all-new Locked On MLB Game Night. Every game, every night, all season long. You can get local analysis on a national scale. Find MLB Game Night on Locked On MLB on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts.